Hey, it's me, your favorite neighborhood lesbian, just dropping by to let you know that today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by you, the patrons on Patreon, and anybody else supporting this podcast. If you're not a patron, you can become one for as little as $3 a month and get early access to episodes and vlogs that I drop. You can also be involved in exclusive live streams for patrons only and many other giveaways that I'm in the process of planning on doing. So if you want to become a patron, click the link in the description below and help support this podcast and the show. And to all the current patrons, thank you so much for the support. I love you all very much. I hope you enjoy this episode. All right, we're recording. Hello, ladies. I have my wonderful patrons, my wonderful friends, Heather, Shannon, Julianne, Kayla, Maggie. There they are. And it's Infant and Pregnancy Loss Month. And I figured I'd have a bunch of women on because I have no idea about this topic myself. I'd have a bunch of women on to tell their story about their infant or pregnancy loss. And right now we're starting with Heather. And she's going to tell her story. And then I have a bunch of questions for everybody. So yeah, thank you guys for being on, by the way. Y'all are wonderful. Take it away, Heather.
Okay, so I had my oldest in 2012, so he was about 18 months old or so. We'd been trying for about 5 months, found out we were pregnant. You know, you see the lines on the stick, you get excited, you start planning forever, you know, as soon as you see it. You know, we told a few people, like close people, because, you know, that early you just don't want to tell anyway because, you know, like you're nervous enough. Told a couple close friends, mentioned a little bit to some close people at work. This was December of 2013. We went the beginning of January for our 9-week ultrasound, which was, you know, routinely about when they do them. We go in, it's me, my husband, my oldest, you know, family event, see the new baby. We go in, and of course it's a vaginal ultrasound because that's how they do them that early, so it's already awkward anyway. It is. So we're there, and it's, you know, the heart rate's kind of low. We're only measuring about 7-ish weeks. You know, could you be off on your times? I wasn't. Like, I knew I wasn't because, you know, it's your body. But, you know, okay, my oldest isn't feeling very good. Okay, my doctor's like, I've seen it go either way. We'll follow up in about a week and a half. No big deal. Go on with life. I'm at work, you know, a couple other people. I guess you're getting excited. And plus, I'm a nurse, so I have to lift, tug, pull. And they kind of watch out for the pregnant ladies where I work because, you know, you don't want anything to happen. Right. And then there was just a time that I just didn't feel like telling anybody anymore. Like, I don't know if I just knew or what, but it was like, I'm just going to wait before I say anything else.
One of those, like, you know your body type of thing.
Yeah, it was like, at first it was like, I'll be fine, you know, we'll week and a half, it'll be good. And then just one day, I don't know what happened, but it was just, I'm going to wait before I tell anybody else. Mm. So the ultrasound came, we were about 10 weeks and 3 days, January 13th, I think. My husband wasn't going to go with me because he was working, but he was working at a site that was close. So I get there, he's like, hey, I can run over for lunch real quick. We go in the ultrasound room, and it's just us. And it's, again, another vaginal ultrasound. And she's, you know, looking in the text. The ultrasound people can't say anything because they can't diagnose. But, you know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they are not allowed to give you a diagnosis if there's something wrong or anything. So it was, I'm not finding a heartbeat. There should be a heartbeat. It's only measuring 7 weeks and like 2 days, so there was really no growth even from the first one. These are the signs of a miscarriage. But she couldn't just say, hey, this is what happened. But I knew. So she leaves, and then, I get off the table. I haven't said anything to my husband yet, and he's just looking at me like waiting on me to say something. And then she's like, I'm going to see if they have a room, ready for you. Because, you do the ultrasound and then you go see the doctor. Usually you walk through the lobby for that. But,
Okay.
As being upset, she's going to weasel me through the back hallways to a room that's open. We go through, she goes to find a room. I'm finishing putting my clothes on, and I just start crying. And my husband gives me a hug. Like, he was like,
Like he knew too?
I mean, he didn't want to say anything, but he'd been through this with the first one. At this point, it's supposed to be this big and there's a heartbeat and all the good stuff. But it was just quiet and eerie in the room after she left, because we just both kind of knew. And I'm crying, and I don't want to say anything because, if you're upset and you try to talk, you're going to cry more. But so he just kind of knew what was going on. She shuffled us through the room, through the back offices, puts us in a room and waiting on the midwife that I'd seen a bunch anyway. So we're sitting there, and I'm trying to hold it together. And she comes in and goes, talking to me, and she's like, it looks like you've had an early miscarriage. Sometimes this just happens, when the DNA comes together, it doesn't come together right. And then they
How
just,
many weeks were you?
I, according to my calendars, was 10 weeks and 3 days
10. Okay.
is what I should have been. So I was almost 2-ish weeks out from being out of the first trimester.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, things had gotten like real, like you're starting to plan stuff. You've only got 30-ish weeks left.
Right.
But being as it was like, wasn't really sure. We just it was like, we're going to wait and see what happens. So she comes in and she explains, nothing that you did is your fault. This is nobody's fault. It just happens. And then she's like, well, God just decided to keep this one. So then I just lose it because, I'm
It's
trying to hold it
emotional.
in and make it through this.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I'm done. And then it's, well, what do you want to do about it? So you can take meds, you can let your body do it itself, or you can go in for a DNC. So instead of waiting it out, because nothing you do is going to change the outcome. I didn't want to go through any of this either at work or home alone with my 18-month-old.
Right.
So it was like, let's just do a DNC, and then know for sure that everything is done. Not that it was an easy decision or anything, but it was just the one I felt the most comfortable with the situation. They ended up scheduling the next day. So I got up early, went, had the procedure done, went home and just slept. The only reason that I really got out of bed the next day was just because my oldest one, he needed me. He came in and was like, Mommy, are you going to play? So you can't just not, no matter how bad you feel. Like, I had to drag myself out of bed.
Right.
But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just felt empty because, you'd made these plans and this was going on. And then one day it's just nothing.
Yeah, I know. I've
But
seen it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a lot more, I never knew anybody, only a couple people that were really close to me that I'd known that had any sort of loss. But you find out a lot in the woodwork that come out that once they hear, it's like,
That's
I got one too.
that's how this
Yeah.
panel even came to be,
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were
I mean,
just,
ladies I work with, I found out that same day that we even just found out that it was a miscarriage, that my grandma had one between my uncle and my dad, and it's just something that's not talked about.
right.
So, but I stayed up late at night crying. I would wake up in the middle of the night having like dreams that I was back in the ultrasound room, having my heart ripped out, and then just lay in bed and just cry. Because there's nothing really that you can do.
No.
So, but I did find that finding other people and everything just to talk and know that you're not alone with it just made things so much, not better, because it doesn't really get better, but it just made it not hurt as much.
Right. To know that like there are people out there that relate and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. That's
Yeah.
why we're here right now. I know I'm looking up if you're watching on cam. You guys hear me? You guys can hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Um I'm looking up if you're watching me on cameras because my freaking screen is up here. Um, but thank you for telling your story. I have all these questions for everybody, but I want everybody to give their story first, and then we'll come back around. Um, so thank you, Heather. Thank you. Next is Shannon. Wonderful Shannon. And you can go ahead and tell your story.
Sure. So, my husband and I had been trying for almost a year. And as soon as you like decide you're ready to have a family, like you think that you're going to get pregnant right away. And then when you don't, you're like, what's happening? So I educated myself a lot and learned so much that I didn't know about my body. Um, and I was in a lot of communication with my doctor, just trying to get advice so that I could like do whatever I could to get pregnant, but nothing was working. So they were monitoring me, and I had been like keeping track, like Heather said, like I knew exactly when I could find out if I was pregnant, like the 5 days early, like for me it was like 7 because I knew.
Right.
And so a test, and finally it was positive, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, you spend so many times like taking pictures and sending it to like your close friend, like, do you see the line? Am I crazy? Like, is there two? and and there was. And so I immediately called my doctor, and she's like, I want you to come in, we're just going to monitor you, like take blood work, make sure that everything is good. And I felt comfortable just because I felt like she really knew that, you know, we had been trying and struggling, and she had my back. And I really loved that I could advocate for myself, but that she also advocated for me a lot. So I went and had blood work, and she's like, okay, well, your levels came back a little low, but because you found out so early, like you haven't even technically missed your period, like it is not uncommon that it's low. Don't panic. It's okay. We're just going to keep, you know, an eye on it. And so your levels are supposed to double every 2 to 3 days, the level of hormone in your blood. And
What is
so
it?
I
Oh
go
my God,
back.
what's that hormone?
It's
I'm good at it.
HCG.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
Heather's like, yeah, I know, nursing school. Anyway, continue.
so I had gone back and gotten my blood work done. And again, she was like, you know what, it's not doubling as we would normally think it would, but you know, again, let's just keep an eye on it. This is totally normal, like this could happen. And for me, it was like I was just like, this has to be it. Like, this can't not be it. This, like, I have to keep the faith. It's going to be okay. But inside, like, I don't know, I felt completely empty. Like, for some reason, I was like, no, this is it. But then something in the back of my mind was like, I don't know. So I went back 3 days later and got my blood work done again. And the nurse called me, and she said, actually, now your levels have actually dropped. And I was like, okay, so what does that mean? And she said, your body is in the process of losing the pregnancy. Like, you have either miscarried or you're in the
In the
process of
process.
it. And your body just doesn't know quite yet, like hasn't picked up the hormone drop to like start a period to, you know, release the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my heart, I like didn't really accept it. I was like, okay, like I trust you, but I don't believe you, but okay, kind of thing.
Right.
And I said, well, what do I expect now? And she said, well, you are so early, like technically like 4 weeks, that there's nothing really we can do for you. Your body just has to release the
Go through it.
pregnancy on its own. And unfortunately, that can take up to a month.
It can take up
And
to a
so
month
in my
for
head,
you
I'm like,
to.
oh my God. So my brain knows that I'm not pregnant. My heart is wishing that I was. Um, and my body is confused because it thinks that I am too, but I'm not. And I have to just wait for my body to recognize and my, you know, my levels to go down. So I just told my husband, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this in my heart. Like, how can I let go of something that my body isn't even letting go of yet? Like, that
Right.
was a big struggle for me. Thankfully, I didn't have to wait a super long time. I think it was like 4 or 5 days later. And she said, you'll probably just have like a really heavy period, maybe a lot of cramping. It shouldn't be like any more discomfort than that. You know, rest, take Tylenol, just try to do, you know, what's best for you.
Mm.
Um, and that's exactly what happened. I like started like a really heavy period. I was bleeding really bad. And I had to get up and go to work. And I had to kind of keep it, not had to keep it a secret, but I was definitely not ready to talk about it with my coworkers. And so I just felt really broken and just really empty, and getting up and pretending I'm a teacher. I teach little
Right, right,
kids,
right.
like I had to be this happy, and I wasn't. I just wanted to crawl back in bed. Hindsight, I probably should have just taken a day off, but I didn't. I thought the distraction would be good, you know, but it wasn't. So, yeah, that's kind of just my story of how, you know, I lost my pregnancy. And then, yeah, it oddly gave me some reassurance to keep going, since we had been trying for so long and finally got a positive pregnancy test. But it also was incredibly scary to start over, because it could have taken another year
Yeah.
or more or never. So,
I don't understand. Well, I guess I'll ask everybody eventually after they tell their stories, but like I've heard a lot about like women not wanting to really talk about it at first.
yeah.
Like even with my sister-in-law, she didn't really want to tell a bunch of people when she miscarried. So I guess.
Yeah, I think that I was still processing it on my own. And, you know, there's, I think I'll highlight this in one of the questions that you'll ask later. But I think the hard part is it's really hard to have a conversation answering questions about it when you're not really, you haven't really processed or grieved it on your own. And it's so personal.
Right.
Um, that like, you know, you'll feel better when you like talk about it, but on the other hand, you're also not ready
To
to
do
quite
it.
talk about it. So
Totally
it
makes
took
sense.
me it took me a long time to be able to outwardly say, like, you know, I lost a baby. And actually, a lot of times people will find out through other people. Like if they experience something, they'll be like, oh, talk to Shannon, like she lost, you know. And
Right.
so I'm happy that other people can come to me to confide in me, but it was also really hard to just like talk to people.
Talk
So
about it yourself.
yeah,
I get it. Well, you're obviously making great strides because you're here. So
I am. I was really nervous, but it's kind of cathartic, you know.
yeah, I feel that for sure. It's good to get it out. And
Yeah.
thank you for being brave and sharing your story. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm literally trying to see who's next. Next up we have Julianne to tell your story.
Yeah. So, um, I don't know if I'm the only lesbian besides Tori in this group, but my wife and I, we did home insemination, and we did so much research before we decided. I'm sorry about my voice. Anyways, we did so much
Perfect.
research before we decided to try, because we want to have a family. So when the time was right, all the tests were good, we decided to go for it, and we actually got pregnant on the first time that we tried, which amazing, because
Right.
when does that happen,
I was gonna say it
So
never happens.
hardly ever, especially for, I mean, I don't know. As far as I know, a lot of people don't get pregnant on the first try unless it's like oh crap, kind of
Right,
thing.
right, right.
So yeah, we were so excited. It was just amazing. I mean, I swear I had a dream the night before that I took a positive pregnancy test, and then when I took the test that morning, it was positive. And I have a picture on my phone. I was just like,
Yeah,
And
the
I was
excitement.
so excited that I just told everybody. I was just like, I'm pregnant, and everything was good. Like we did, like my mom and my stepdad drive a semi truck together, or at the time they did. And so like 4 or 5 weeks later, we had like a surprise to tell them that we were pregnant, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we like made t-shirts and everything. It was really fun. And then it was 8 weeks and I started spotting, and I was like, you know, I've read about this.
You were at 8 weeks, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, I mean, I was excited. I mean, in the beginning, I was just ready to, you know, buy everything, get everything together and whatever. And so that's what we did. We just started buying shit. Anyway, so we had the reveal from my mom and stepdad and told them like we were going to have a baby and this and that, because like, okay, so my sister is married, but she doesn't have any kids and she's older than me. My brother is married and he has 3 kids, but like I'm the only girl, the other girl that would have the baby for my mom, you know? Yeah. So basically it was just like, it's different when your brother has the kids over the, you know, your sister or whatever.
You always go with like the mother, like, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I was excited that I was like, you know, we had the name picked out. Her name was going to be Elizabeth Renee, which is after my mom. And both.
Oh, you knew it was a girl.
No, we didn't know. We just we had her name picked out. Like we just, you know, that's what we wanted. So
right.
we're just going with that. So at 8 weeks along, I started spotting very faint, like, and I went in to the doctor. I didn't even want to tell my wife about it, honestly. I was just like, this can't be happening, you know?
Right.
I was devastated because I just kind of knew. I just felt like I knew. And it was heartbreaking, and I just didn't, I was sad, I was embarrassed, I was just like, I mean, I know it was nothing I could do to stop it, but
I feel like that's common too, like women feel embarrassed, like there's something wrong with they're broken or something.
Right. And I know I'm a bigger girl, and I know that, I mean, weight can have a lot to do with miscarriage, you know, I don't know. I've lost a lot of weight since I miscarried, but after we found out, like we had went in, you know, because I was spotting or whatever, and they did the ultrasound too, and like I was actively miscarrying too. So it says the meeting is upgrade. Okay. Anyway, sorry. So
I don't know what that meant, but it was like, here's a gift from Zoom. I'm like, all right, cool, I'll take a gift.
So they were like, you're actively miscarrying. And I was just like, okay, like my heart just shattered, basically. So they're like, I just don't understand, like with Shannon, like they knew really early on, you know, like there was, I mean, I don't know if I just didn't go to the doctor soon enough or what, because I went like 4 times and everything was on the up and up. And then I started spotting. So,
right. So it was kind of like out of nowhere, like everything was great. Then all of a sudden.
Yeah, pretty much. So they're like, you know, she didn't give me any options. They're like, you're actively miscarrying. You're doing, it's working its way out and this and that. I was like, okay. So they sent me on home. No medicine, no nothing for pain. It was the worst fucking pain that I have ever felt. I mean, my heart was already broken, and
right, emotional pain and physical pain.
Physical. I mean, people can have really bad periods. I get that, but I have never felt that kind of, like, the cramping was just constant for probably 3 days, just tearing up my insides. And I was just like, oh my God. I just was in a ball on my bed for ever, and I just kept going back and forth and back and forth. I'm just like, oh my God, when's this gonna end? Because it hurt so bad.
Right.
And then it did. And then it happened. I was just like, oh, okay, now it's done. I'm not pregnant anymore.
And that's probably when the emotional pain starts to even come even worse, because it's like, okay, now there's nothing in my body, right? Like, you know, becomes.
And I just felt like, great, you know. And then we're like, okay, well, we wanted to try again, you know. And after, they're like, you should wait 1 full cycle and then you can try again.
Mm.
So we waited like we're supposed to, because I mean, after you miscarry, you don't just bleed like a regular period. You bleed for freaking ever, I swear. At least I did. So I had to wait for that plus a cycle.
Right.
And then so we tried again 3 more times after, and nothing happened. Nothing came of it. So then I was like, okay, I don't understand, but I wanted to just step back, take some time to figure out, like, what can I do? Can I, to make this better? I was like, it's time for me to lose weight. Maybe that's why. So, sorry, that's when I started to lose weight. And then that's when I found out that I had cancer. So we
Oh
haven't
my
tried again
God.
since.
Do you think
So,
you
yeah.
want to? I know, like, we talked personally, you alluded to not, but do you not want to because you're afraid?
Well, I would love to be a mother. I feel like I was put on this earth to be a mother. Like,
Do it.
I mean, yes, but it's so difficult for me because I had thyroid cancer. I don't have a thyroid anymore. And your thyroid is very important when you're pregnant. It gives off the extra hormones that your body needs.
Right.
And it's constant visits to the doctor for blood work and stuff like that. Like, after I had my thyroid out, I asked my doctor, I was like, can I get pregnant again? He said, yes, you just have to go see I forget what kind of doctor she is. I only saw her once because she was kind of rude. So I was just like, I don't want to go to her.
Fuck that bitch.
Yeah, basically. I was like, she's kind of snotty. And because, I mean, I'm gay, and so I don't know if that's why she was just like, are you sharing? I was like, so I just was like, I'm not going back to her. Right. Anyways, so I lost my train of thought.
The doctor said that you could, but you could,
but yeah, but it would just be a lot more doctor visits and stuff like that. And like I had to go through 3 surgeries and radiation before I could try again. Anyways, like when I got pregnant, it was in 2016. Like it was, years ago now, I feel like, because it's been 3 years since I had my thyroid out.
Yeah.
So I'm 35 now. My wife's 41. Like, we just feel like our time kind of, because like even now, if I were to get pregnant, it's considered geriatric.
I think you'll know. Like, I think like, once you kind of sit on it, if your body's ready, if you're ready, if you're willing to go through certain things emotionally and like physically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's really where what it comes down to.
Yeah. I would like to try again. I'm just not sure she does.
Right.
I think because like, I don't know, she's older now. Her parents adopted her when they were 40. Like they're in their 80s now. Like,
right.
It's kind of difficult
so you don't want that same, I guess, dynamic.
Right.
That makes sense. Well,
So,
thank you for sharing. See, I'm looking down again because I can. Oh, Kayla is next. We got Kayla next. To tell her story.
I have to unmute. If you guys hear banging, it's my friend's 2.5-year-old son on the door.
Oh, that's fine. Totally fine.
And my son keeps coming in. What are you doing? Anyway, so the first time I was pregnant was 2009. It was February. That one was hard because immediately after I found out that I was pregnant, I started bleeding too, like just little bits, but still bleeding.
Mm.
I didn't have pain at first at all. And then March 2009, the blood started getting worse, like way, way worse. And so did the cramps, like Julianne was saying.
Mm.
I don't even know how I actually even got out of bed half the time. At the time, I was working at Sears. And I remember going to work for like at least a month with these really bad cramps, bleeding.
Mm.
And then the 29th of March, I got up and I could just tell that day that something was wrong. Like, it was already wrong because I was bleeding, and the doctors weren't. They were like, "Oh, well, it's fine. It's your first baby, so a little bleeding is fine." But it just started getting. It was getting bad.
I feel like that's true. Like, women know, y'all know your. Well, I'm a woman too, but like when it comes to pregnancy, like y'all know your bodies.
Yeah, and the little blood wasn't scary because it was like, oh, whatever. But March 29th, I went to work, and the last like half hour, I remember going to the bathroom, and instead of pee, obviously, it was like my whole hand of just a glob of blood.
Oh my God.
That literally just came right out. So I was freaking out, and I was like, something is definitely not at all
right.
Like, at all.
Do you know how far along you were at that point?
3 months.
Oh, you were 3 months?
Yeah. So what happened was that, yeah, we're getting to that. Yeah, I was 3 months. So my mom took me, to the doctor because of when I went to the bathroom and everything came out. So I was like, no, I seriously need to go to the ER like now. I can barely stand up and walk. Right. So we go to the ER, and I remember the doctor coming in, this red shirt, long red shirt, these khaki pants, this really cool like tie. And he was like, well, there's no more baby. Gets up and walks away.
Stop it.
And
do you feel like, well, I guess this would be a question for everybody, but like, are male doctors less compassionate? Like, they
not
are?
necessarily, but this guy just sucked.
Okay. This guy was just a dick.
My mom was with me, so we were just looking at each other going, what? Wait, what?
Right.
Wait, what? Huh? You're just gonna
Good day, sir? I don't know.
Yeah, you're just gonna say, there's no more baby, get up and like walk out without any sort of telling me what is happening right now?
And you're 3 months. 3 months.
I was 3 months, yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, okay, so then this nurse comes in and was like, sorry about the doctor, but you are having a miscarriage. You are having a tubular pregnancy. So the baby was growing in my fallopian tube. And the reason I was bleeding so much was my fallopian tube ruptured. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it ruptured, so it was very unfun.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and so I was basically dying as well. They told my mom that if she would not have brought me in that day, I would have been dead the next day because I lost a pint of blood.
I was going to say that you probably would have bled a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, wait, is that what they call an ectopic pregnancy?
Yes. I didn't know how to say it, so we're just going to... I
don't know if I said it right, to be quite honest.
So.
I said it all right. Heather's giving me the thumbs up.
I'm not even gonna do it.
So wait, this is 2009. Okay, all right. I mean, I don't know how it works, but
yeah, I don't know. So that was the first one, and then not even a year later, I was pregnant again. Mm-hmm. So, and it was funny because I found out in February 2009 that I was pregnant, but lost it in March. But then in 2010, in February, I found out I was pregnant again.
And lost it in...
I did not lose it. He's almost 10. He'll be 10.
Oh, yeah, thank God. I'm like, holy shit.
God, no. He will be 10 on Tuesday.
He is very much so here. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he's very here and a pain in my butt.
He makes you lose it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I guess it's like, yeah, that was my sister-in-law too. She got pregnant, kind of like Julianne's story, got pregnant. And I just knew that I was going to have a goddaughter named Ariana. My sister, like my sister-in-law wasn't even really pregnant fully yet. Like, you know, she was like, they just found out and they told me, and I was like, yeah, my goddaughter Ariana. My sister's like, it's not even a fucking zygote yet. Like, how do you know? And I'm like,
right.
I'm like, I just know. And then she lost the baby.
not fun.
But I mean, you know, same thing as you, Caleb, where like about a year later became
Yep.
pregnant and now has obviously the twins. But
Oh,
yeah, it's weird how.
They're so cute.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for telling your story. And next we have Maggie. I don't have to look on my phone now because she's the
I'm
last
going to
one.
mute.
Okay.
All right. Save me
Hello,
for last.
Maggie.
All right. Mine's kind of different, just age-wise. So I was a sophomore in high school. I was 15.
Mhm.
My brother had just gone away to college. The whole dynamic in my house was kind of different. So I had already kind of started acting a little rebellious with my parents.
Mhm.
I started dating this guy that they couldn't stand. And it made me want to be with him all the more for some reason. But then he just got super controlling and abusive, and I just stayed. I don't know why, but fast forward through all the drama, I got pregnant, and I didn't want to tell my family because I was just terrified. First of all, because they didn't like him. Second of all, because I was only 15.
Mhm.
And it was just scary. I didn't know what to do. I'll call him Sam. Sam would tell me that he was going to throw me down a flight of stairs if I didn't have an abortion.
Oh my God.
I really had no support. I was kind of mentally on my own. And at that age, you're not even mentally prepared for anything like that. So
Right.
um, basically, I started ditching school a lot with a couple people. I told a couple people. We started ditching school a lot to try to find a clinic I can go to get an abortion. I was like gung-ho on getting an abortion because I didn't want to make him mad. I wanted to stay with him still, like a sicko. Sick fuck.
Oh, it
But
happens.
anyway.
Trust me. It happens.
So yeah, I was doing anything to make him happy, and I finally found a place. And then I remember the day before, it was like 8 o'clock at night. My appointment to get an abortion was like 2 o'clock the next day. The day before, I was just having excruciating pain. I stayed home from school. My parents still didn't know at this point. But obviously they were concerned of why I was staying home. So I finally had to tell them, I think I'm having a miscarriage right now, because it was just so painful. And I had never, like everybody else was saying, it's just you can't really explain the pain.
Right.
I remember being rolled up in a ball on the bed. I couldn't lay on my side. I couldn't lay on my back. I couldn't lay on my stomach. Everything hurt. And then kind of like Kayla, it's really odd. I had a sensation I had to go to the bathroom. So I literally ran to the bathroom, and I looked down, and like a tennis ball size blood clot like came pouring out and just flushed down the toilet, and that was it.
How far along
And
were
then
you?
literally the second later, pain all gone. No more pain, no more stomach ache, no
Oh, it
more
was
anything. Like instantly gone, like nothing had happened. It was the oddest thing. I'm 36 now, so yeah, this was 21 years ago.
How many
But
weeks pregnant were you?
to be honest, I don't even know because it's so long ago. I have vivid memories of it, and then I have vague memories of it. Like I don't remember certain things. Like I don't remember how my parents acted when they found out.
Right.
We never talked. Well, so the next day, I kept my appointment for the abortion, but I got a DNC procedure done instead.
What
And
is a
Sam,
DNC, by the way?
they
That was-
just, I mean, just a quick definition. They knock you out and clean you out.
Got it. Okay.
Basically, make sure everything's gone out of there.
Got it.
But they put you under anesthesia, so it's kind of it's a big deal, you know. I remember Sam came with us to that appointment with my parents, and he, in the waiting room right before I'm wheeled in, he told me in front of my parents that he didn't love me anymore and he was cheating on me with my friend. This guy was a keeper, let me tell you.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, he did everything wrong. He stole thousands of dollars from my parents at one point. He got caught like pushing me against walls at school. He'd get suspended. It was just
Do you
crazy times.
think, because I remember when in the you said that like you felt as though it was basically his abuse that kind of drove you to have that miscarriage. Do you think you feel like that's what it was?
Yeah, the day before I had a miscarriage, because I was still hanging out with him. We were still together and we were still having sex. And I remember the day before I had a miscarriage, we hung out and we had sex. And I remember I just didn't feel good. I remember it hurting. I remember telling him I wasn't really in the mood. I don't really want to. And we did it anyway. And then the next day that happen. So I mean, I don't know what made me have a miscarriage, whether it was God, whether it was him. Someone didn't want me to have an abortion. I don't know, stress, everything kind of combined. It was just really weird that it was like right before the scheduled, you know. I've always thought it was really weird. Yeah, it was crazy. I eventually got out of it, and I've had like better feelings for him ever since. I get along with all my exes except for him.
Do you have kids now? Like, did you ever have kids after that, or?
No, I was kind of terrified. I immediately got put on birth control, and I just stopped birth control last year.
Oh.
So I've never gotten pregnant, never stopped birth control. I never really was with a guy that I wanted to have.
I've never gotten pregnant either.
Years, but, yeah, I'm pretty good at not getting pregnant. The guy I was with for 6 years, we didn't even talk about having kids, so that kind of worked out. Right. But
well, thank you for sharing your story too. I mean, coupled with abuse, like I know that's tough to like share all together, you know. It's tough to share a story about losing a kid, then couple that with abuse. It's even harder. So thank you. Okay, so we're gonna loop back around to Heather. I see you. And now the first question. Now all of you guys are gonna get a chance to answer this. What is the biggest struggle you had with your loss?
Other than, you know, waking up with essentially nightmares of it, the part that really sticks out the most, talking about it doesn't really bother me anymore, just because it helps so much, and, you know, it does help others to know that they're not alone. But after the DNC and, you know, going through all that, you have to go back for a follow-up, because it is a surgical procedure. You can have them for other stuff other than miscarriages too. So they pretty much go in your uterus, look around, clean everything out. And
yep, it's a uterus. All right, let's go.
Yeah, pretty much like uterus. This doesn't belong here. Let's take it out. You're on your way.
Right.
But where it is a surgical procedure, you have to go back for a follow-up. So a couple weeks later, I go in. I'm a regular patient. I go in. I sit in the waiting room after I check in. And, you know, I'm not being shuffled through the back door anymore. So I'm sitting there, and directly to the left of me is this girl, I mean, roughly about my age-ish, her guy, and a little boy that was about the age of my oldest. And they're sitting there, and you can see them looking through, like, the new ultrasound pictures.
Aww.
So, like, I'm sitting there texting, like, my best friend, which was pregnant at the time. But I'm texting her like, I can't be, like, this should not be happening. Like, cause I'm looking at them and like, that should be us, you know, that should be, you know, my family looking at these new pictures, and we're not. So just to have to sit there and just know that that's not what we should have been, you know, that just killed me. But then just seeing other people, the other worst part was seeing other people pregnant that were due like the same time as you and doing okay. And I mean, and yeah, I'm happy for them. Like, I would not wish anything, you know, like this to happen to any of them, but just to know that I should be doing that stuff.
Right. That it's not going to happen for you. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Like, it's just like, okay.
It's like, all right.
Like,
fuck
okay.
you too. Fuck you too, God. Like,
yeah, like, whatever.
Right.
But I mean, it was just more like an internal hurt than anything. You know, you can be happy for them and stuff and still, you know, have that struggle within yourself. And my best friend was pregnant.
You can't feel guilty about that, by the way. Like, just as a word to the wise, if you're going through it or you've gone through it and that's how you feel, you're allowed to fucking feel that way.
Yeah, like it is normal, because as soon as you see those lines, you've planned, whether you mean to or not, you've planned that life.
Right.
And then for it to be gone is just, it's like a kick in the ass, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's
Yep.
okay, we'll go down this road instead.
Right.
Um but it's awkward for people to try to talk. Like I went back to work. I took 2 days off work for the DNC, and the day after went back to work that weekend. And people talk. Like I had to tell my manager why I needed those days off. So people knew, and you could
Right.
just tell that they were like tiptoeing around, like they don't want to. But then you've got the older ladies. They're like, it's okay. I've
Right.
I had one. It'll be okay. But then you just still feel like other people that don't know are still going to ask, and then you have to tell them like, by the way, which I did with the doctor, that his wife was pregnant around the same as me, and he came in, hadn't seen me for a little bit, and it was like, by the way, and then just like the look of, oh God, I'm an asshole.
Right. Right.
It's like, you didn't know. Like, I'm not mad. You didn't know. You couldn't have known. But
Right.
it didn't. I'm not mad, and it didn't hurt. But my best friend was about 2 or 3 months ahead of me in her pregnancy. So, best friends. We're going to be pregnant together. We're excited.
Kids are gonna grow up and be best friends.
Exactly. And then we're not. So she asked me if I could watch her oldest one day, which I love her oldest. She was my practice baby. But I was like, I love your kids. Like, it is okay. But she one day came over and was like, I love feeling babies kick in those bellies. Like, that is like the best. And she came over and was like, do you want to feel her kick?
Aw.
But
And
she
it's like
didn't.
that. It's bittersweet.
Yeah, like she didn't want to hurt me, and I know that she never would do it intentional. But she also knows how much I love those babies.
Right. Right. Right.
And I was like, absolutely, like, yes, let me feel that baby kick. So later I messaged her and was like, I never want you to feel bad about your pregnancy. Like, this is nothing anybody could help.
Right.
So, I mean, but it was, then comes the due date and all these dates and stuff that you'd planned for, that it's like, okay, well,
So I guess
how,
for you, I guess it was like dealing with the emotions of your loss, but also being happy for other people. And like, how do you kind of maneuver those emotions? Because you want to be happy for the people that you care about in your life, but at the same time, you want to mourn the loss of your own child.
yeah, like, I mean, it broke me inside. Like, for a long time, like, I had shut down years ago for other reasons. But I mean, I didn't cry at nothing, but this broke me.
Right.
And I mean, I'll cry about anything now, but that switch turned off. But I mean, also we had went like a few months later to a wedding, and my sister had came in. I hadn't seen my sister for a couple years because we live in different states, and she wasn't drinking, but it was like, I'm watching my oldest, whatever. And then later she texted me and was like, I'm about 15 weeks pregnant. And she didn't want to tell me. She said, I didn't want to hurt you, because I had, a month or two before I had just lost one. So she was like, I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want that hurt. And I'm like, it's okay. Like,
right.
I'm still gonna love your babies. Like, you don't.
Right.
I'll be okay. I promise. But I mean, just the biggest struggle that I had with any of it was just that internal emotional struggle with seeing everybody else go on with their lives, and here I am, going down another street that I hadn't planned for.
Right. It's tough.
But yeah,
Freaking tough.
but I mean,
Now,
it is what you can't change it. You just have to kind of figure it out.
I don't know. Okay, so now I think I'm gonna ask each person the question, like kind of just continue to go around. Would that be like, okay, all right. So now, Shannon, what was your biggest struggle with your loss?
So I think my biggest struggle was because I had lost my baby so early. No one really knew about it. And I felt guilt. And I felt guilt in a couple of ways. One, I felt guilt because I felt like my body was failing me. I felt like my body was failing my husband. But also guilt because I tried to justify not feeling sad because I wasn't that far along.
Right.
You know, there are other people who are farther along than you are. So why are you feeling so sad? But it didn't help me not be sad about it. And so I felt this guilt because I was like, but this, like, that's the only loss I have. Like, that's my experience. And so it took me a long time to accept that it's okay to grieve your experience no matter how many hours you knew you were pregnant, because the minute you find out, you're attached in some way, shape, or form.
It's a life, yeah.
Yeah, so when that's ripped from you, like, you have to grieve that. And just like Heather said, you know, it's like when your due date comes, like, that was a really hard day for me. When you find out your friends are pregnant, like, that's the thing. It's like people will say, well, aren't you happy for them? Of course I'm happy for them. I'm just sad for me because
Right.
I'm not pregnant and I just lost my baby. And so I think that was my biggest struggle, is just giving myself the grace to be able to grieve properly no matter how far along I was, because every pregnancy is valid, and when you lose it, you have the right to feel however you want to feel. And I know that there are some people I know personally who have had miscarriages 6-7 weeks, and they accepted it, and I'm really proud of them that they can accept it and, you know, move forward. But not everyone is like that. And
Right.
just knowing that everyone grieves differently and everyone kind of processes that differently, and that's okay, and you're allowed to do that, and you're allowed to feel sad for yourself, even if you found out you were pregnant and then you weren't the next day. The point is that you, like Heather said, you see those lines and you start planning and you have that attachment. So that was my biggest struggle, was giving myself time to just be valid in my experience and grieve it, even though it was an early loss.
Did it take a long time for you?
It didn't, because I got pregnant right away.
No.
Like right after.
There you go.
Again. And so I was still grieving, but I was also moving forward. And so I also felt guilt in that, because I was happy that I was pregnant, but then I was sad because I wasn't still some days feeling sad about losing my other, you know, pregnancy. And so it was just a range of emotions. Some days I was great, some days I wasn't. Even to this day, I feel like there are times where it just gets you. It just, like, you know, and
what if?
You think about what could have happened or who that baby would have been.
How old they would be.
Yeah, just giving yourself the grace to just feel however you are, because you are a human being, and that was a human being, and feeling.
I feel like with women, it's okay. So if you've never gone through the experience, it's tough to, like, we expect women to just get over it. You know, it wasn't even like, didn't even have legs yet. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. But it's like, the emotion behind it, I feel like people don't understand. Even me, you know, as somebody who's never been pregnant before. Yes, I have nieces and a nephew, and I love them, and I love the children in my life. But, like, I've never had the experience of having a life inside of me.
Right.
And I feel like once, whether it's 2 cells, 3 cells, it has a leg and 5 fingers, like whatever it is, that's a life inside of you that like you're emotionally attached to.
I think one of the hardest things for me was someone who was trying to support me said, you know, if you didn't test early, though, you probably would have never found out that you were actually pregnant because you tested so early. And like logically, yes, that makes sense. But I did
Right.
test early. Like because
It's
if,
not your fault.
right, like because if you test early and you have a miscarriage, sometimes women don't test until they miss their period for 2 or 3 weeks. But I didn't. And my experience was that I did know that I was pregnant. So I can't just like unlearn that and move on,
Right.
know. So yeah, that was one of my biggest challenges.
And a challenge it is. I'm plugging in my computer, by the way. Yeah, I know I can only go by what I've seen because I've never been in this situation, but have seen how utterly how much of an emotional roller coaster it takes you on, regardless of how far along you are. It doesn't matter across the board, whether you're 8 months pregnant, 3 months pregnant like Kayla, or 3 weeks pregnant. Pregnant is pregnant,
And just to know that, like, when you're further along in pregnancy and, you lose it, like there is different trauma associated with like however far along, but it's trauma nonetheless, and it's your experience. And so you can be empathetic for other people and also be sad for yourself,
Right.
So that's important to realize too.
Right, absolutely. And next, I think I know the order now. We got Julianne next. That's right? Wait, hold on. Now I gotta check because I don't know if I'm right. I think I'm right. Julianne, yeah, I am right. Okay. What was your biggest struggle with your loss?
So for me, I guess I kind of like blamed myself because I wasn't sure like if it was me physically, like because I wasn't healthy enough for the baby to carry a baby. Like I thought it was. The doctor said I was fine, like I was good to go. And so, and then after finding out about my thyroid, I was like, he said that was probably growing to me for like 5 years. And I'm like, really? Because it was that big? And I'm like, maybe that's why. I don't know. So it was a big struggle just physically for me. Like that's why I changed my life in a lot of ways so that I could be more healthy and hopefully have a baby again, or a baby. So
Did you feel like because I feel like so far with everybody that I've spoken to, I feel like there's guilt. There's always guilt. Did you feel you felt that guilt?
I felt guilty because I didn't feel like I was healthy enough. I felt like it was my fault. Like it was all my fault. I miscarried because my body couldn't handle it or something like that. Like I felt ashamed, embarrassed. Like I was just like why me?
Right.
My friend had a miscarriage like 20 years ago when she had gotten pregnant in high school, and it was really hard to see her go through that. But she got over it, and she got over it, but she like moved on quickly, and it like hurt me like longer than I think it hurt her. Like I'm attached to her very, like she's my best friend, and I was like really just so sad for her.
Right.
So, and like I don't know why we waited so long to try to have kids. Maybe if I had tried when I was younger, because I was 30 at the time.
Okay.
I thought, okay, well, it's time. We should try. That way, I'm not getting any younger. So
Right. My biological clock is ticking.
Right. And like, so everybody was saying like, we have these kids attached to us, like my niece, Halen, turned 3 a few weeks ago, and like my child before this month, if I had my kid.
Right.
And she was born, they found out they were pregnant in January, the same time I did. And then they had her in October, when around my same due date. And I was just like, like, it's weird because I feel like things happen like that for a reason. So like, she's like mine,
Yeah.
I
Like
love her so much. She's so
the
cute.
kid you
and
never
just,
had.
yeah, she's just the best. Like, that's what it feels like, like I'm just attached to so many kids. Like, all my friends have kids, and they all had kids in school and throughout my life, and I've always been there. I've seen 6 babies be born, so
Right.
like, it's an amazing experience to see that. So yeah. But
So I guess for you, it was kind of almost like Shannon, like you felt your problem was like you feeling like your body was failing you, like you were a failure.
right,
And that's so
it
sad.
sucks to feel that way for sure,
Yeah.
but
It's
you
like,
get it in your head, and it's so hard to get it out. Like,
right.
you just can't, like, until you talk about it. And then having those people, some people just saying they know how, like, I know how you feel. I hate that. Like, that's the worst thing that you can say to somebody, because you don't know how I feel.
Right.
Even if you've had a miscarriage, I'm sorry, but you have no idea what I'm going through.
Right, because
None.
everybody's feeling and thinking different things, and
Yeah, if you've lost somebody, you've lost your dad, and like somebody else lost their dad, and they're like, oh, I know how you feel. Like, no, you don't. You don't know what kind of relationship you had, with
right.
that person. So just like saying like things like that really irks me. I just want to be like, I'm here for you. Like, you can talk to me. That's all.
That's it.
That's all people want to hear.
And I think
You know?
like that's it with any situation, but I mean specifically pregnancy loss, infant loss. Instead of saying like, yeah, I had a miscarriage too, like it's kind of like dumbing it down. Instead of doing that, just be like, listen, you can say I've been through the same thing. I'm here for you if you need, you know what I mean?
Right.
But not like in that dismissive, like, oh, I've been through the same thing. Like
Right.
you're fine.
Or like, get over it. Like
Right.
Shannon said, like, no, like, I don't want to get over it. It's been 6 years and I still am heartbroken about it. Like,
Of
screw you.
course. Right. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Right. I get
Yeah.
it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Now we got Kayla. I don't know what Kayla's doing over there. Where's she at?
I was trying to get comfortable. I'm like a child. I can't sit still.
It's totally fine. I'm sorry.
My goodness, it's fine. I can't sit still.
What is your biggest struggle with your loss?
Let's see. Well, I have it written down because I know I would forget.
She has
I
it
know.
written down.
On top of it. Now go away. My sister's in here. Now go away. Okay. So I have a couple. The first one is not feeling worthy enough to be a mother. I guess that kind of is like Shannon and Julianne. Like, it doesn't make any sense why in 2009, in February, I couldn't be a mother, yet a year later, I can have a full pregnancy and have a son.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense to me at all.
Do you still struggle with that? Or like, was that back then it was like, why the hell did that have to happen?
It just depends on the day, I think. When it's March 29th, I usually am not myself.
What?
Oh, look, hello.
I'm filming something. Sorry.
Hello.
Sorry.
And it's okay. That's me too. My sister keeps coming in, so does my son.
Right.
Hello.
It's like, go away.
You can come in, it's fine, but really no. And then the second one is just not really having an explanation on why tubular pregnancies happen.
Right.
They just happen, and they don't have a reason why. They just, it happened, and oh well,
Right.
which sucks. And then just to be reminded about it every day, because my incision still hurts sometimes, and we're in 2020, so I don't really understand why that happens.
11 years later.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that constant reminder, like that's what you're saying, the pain.
Yep.
I get it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Heather could probably talk about it more, but like,
Right.
if like tubular how did you say it? Ectopic? Did I say it right? Yes.
She said yes.
Um, we don't have explanations for them and stuff like that. So I guess your shtick, I'm using the word shtick again.
You're using that again.
Yeah. Your shtick is like not knowing, like you wish you knew why it happened type of thing.
Yeah.
That
And I'll
makes
never know. It was just something that happens.
right. That makes
Oh my
sense.
goodness.
Totally. It's fine. I'm about to ask Maggie anyway.
I have.
Maggie,
Hey.
what's your biggest issue, like with the loss, your biggest struggle?
I would say guilt for sure. Never really grieving properly. I never really had the chance, to be honest, because like Julian was saying, her friend, like she was so young and she kind of moved on fast. You move on, but you always carry it with you, and I feel like it hurt me later on in life. Not really, it hurt at the time, but it hit me harder as I got older for sure.
Right.
But I feel like I never really grieved because right after that happened, I'm still in high school, the middle of high school. And at that time, my parents, they separated when I was 16, like the year after this happened. And then my brother blamed me for that. So he didn't talk to me for 8 whole years, literally not one word because of that. So it was kind of like a domino effect because my parents split up because they were arguing a lot about how to discipline me. Because like I said, I was getting in some trouble after that. I didn't have counseling for what I had went through. I didn't really tell anyone. Me and my parents didn't really talk about it afterwards. So I was kind of just dealing with it on my own, and I kind of just numbed it and just partied with friends, and I became like the party girl in high school. And I regret it because I didn't really grieve. I didn't really get the help I needed, and it definitely affected my adult life. So yeah, I'm just guilty over everything because of all that, and not standing up for myself, and I should have listened to him. I should have had my own. No, this is my body. I'm going to do what I want. I'm not going to listen to you. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like your emotional distress was, again, like it's like twofold. You feel the guilt because like every other like the women in here have said prior, that you feel guilty because you feel like your body is just like broken. But then at the same time for you, it was probably like you feel guilty because you probably felt as though you allowed somebody to treat you that way. So it's like double. I get it.
Which I would never ever do ever again in my life. You live and learn. I definitely learned a lot from that. I'm so different now. It's not even funny.
Right.
Me and my brother get along now. I have a niece and nephew. I love them. My parents are back together. Like life kind of folded back together.
It does.
But there was like a decade of years where it was just kind of one thing after another. And here we are.
Happier.
I made it out.
Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
Made it out. It's like
it's still sad. I'd have a 20-year-old, so it's still weird and sad to think about.
Is that something
April
like
13th, never forget the date? April 13th, 2000 was the due date.
So you
little things.
Still think of those little things too, those little
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they never really go away. But I don't cry about it anymore. I'm like, if you were to talk to me 15 years ago, I'd probably be crying right now. But I'm able to talk about it and be okay because I'm old now. It's so long ago.
but I get it. The pain never fully goes away, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if there's minors that listen to your podcast, but if there is, The only thing I would say is don't ever go through something like that alone, because it's you need people. I mean,
Yeah.
you need your parents, you need your guardian, whoever, your grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whoever's close to you. Just whether you're scared to death or not, just reach out until someone's willing to help you, because you just shouldn't go through that alone.
Yeah, no, you're right. 100%. Okay, so now the next question. Next question is, oh, this is a good one. And I think we kind of touched on this, but what are common mistakes people make when comforting those who've experienced loss? Julianne kind of touched on this already. But Heather, would you like, now you're on the other side of me, but I don't know if it's changed. But Heather, would you like to elaborate?
I didn't really have a lot of these like told to me. And if they did, I know that they didn't mean it, to mean, it's an awkward thing to talk about because people don't talk about it.
Right.
So they try to say things that they think are helpful that's not really helpful. The biggest one is, it's okay, you can try again.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, I can, but it's not really going to erase that one.
Right.
But if I'd had that one, I would have a 6-year-old. So it's like, I mean, yeah, I can try again. It's not going to replace the loss.
Right. It's you could have 7 fucking kids, but if you lost one out of all of those, that's still gonna hurt.
Yeah, like, I mean, I have, my youngest now, and he's 5. It took us almost 11 months to get pregnant with him, after. So, I mean, yeah, like, okay, I've got another one, but,
Right.
It's still like, if
they're not disposable.
yeah, like, whoops, try again.
Right.
But I mean, that was probably the biggest one that's like, oh, you can try again, or maybe you just weren't meant to have that one.
Right.
Like, what do you mean by that?
Like, oh, God didn't want you to, whatever it is. Like, people just bring stupid, like, they try to.
Yeah, or maybe maybe that one was going to have something wrong.
Right.
But
how do you know? Like,
yeah,
you
like,
can't say.
Okay, like, you deal with it whenever, if that happens, but you don't know that. But
Right.
I mean, and I know that most of the people that would have said anything like that to me back then wouldn't have meant anything wrong by it.
They're trying to make you feel better.
Exactly. But it's an awkward conversation to have. And
there's a way to talk about it, I feel. I don't know the way.
We'll teach you.
Right. I guess that's why we're having this fucking conversation.
Exactly.
Is to figure out the way. But
I mean, I don't know. It's just because, yeah, a lot of people have had infant losses or miscarriages at any point in the time. And like, like we said earlier, a lot of the times if you don't test early, you have no idea. So the number, I mean, yeah, it's reported 1 in 4, but it's probably more than that because people don't know.
Right.
But, usually people try to say the things that they think will help, just because they have no idea, like, what to really say.
Well, that actually, we could probably do the third question too, which is, what can people do to help comfort? Like, what would actually help? So, like, we know what fucking sucks when people do it. What, in your opinion, would have made you feel better?
I mean, just be like, listen, if you, obviously they don't understand, but, like, I understand you're going through something difficult or whatever. If you need, like, listen, you can come to me and talk. Like, I might not understand it, but you can talk to me. That would have been the biggest help, because the people that I talked to, that did have, a loss at any point in pregnancy, because I found out a lot of people in my life had, losses, anywhere from early to late. And it was, it just helps so much to be able to talk to people. Another thing that people would say that's not very helpful is, at least it was early.
Right.
I mean,
I've
I
heard
didn't
that one.
have to go through that trauma of being further along and actually delivering,
But
that,
still,
yeah. I mean, I know people that have, and it's just from talking to them, it's extremely traumatic usually.
yeah.
But just because I had an earlier loss and didn't have to go through, an entire pregnancy or anything, doesn't make it hurt, not hurt.
Right. It's
But
like,
yeah, just,
it's like at least. No, there's no at least.
yeah, no, we're not, it was still there.
Right.
We
Right.
still had it, still the experience. But just that, to tell somebody, like, I don't understand what you're going through, but if you want to talk about it, I'll listen.
Right.
I mean, I think that would be like the most helpful.
Just to be a listening ear.
Yeah,
Well,
because there's nothing that you're really going to say that's going to make it better. It's, nobody's going to say anything that's going to make it not hurt.
right.
But there's stuff that people's going to say that's going to be like, just shut up.
Right. Shut the fuck up,
Just give me a
asshole.
hug. Just give me a hug and move on.
Rub my belly, like, like make me feel better in some way.
Yeah, like, give me a hug. Tell me that, not that it's going to be okay, because it's, it takes a while, but just tell me that
You're here.
I'm here if you need me.
Right.
Don't stick your foot in your mouth while you're at it. That'd be great.
Right. Don't be a dipshit. That is the moral
Exactly.
of the
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
What about you, Shannon? Well, the common mistakes people make comforting you. What in your opinion?
So, Tori and I kind of talked about this a little bit, but I was this person before I had experienced this loss. I thought I was comforting them. I thought I was giving, this person some reassurance, and everything I said invalidated or made her feel invalidated from her pregnancy loss. And I didn't realize that until I lost mine, and hearing things like, oh, well, it's so common. Okay, but it's not common for me, right? This is my first. It's not common for me. Or, oh, well, you tested early, so you might have not even known you were pregnant. But I did test, so I did know I was pregnant. Oh, you'll get pregnant again. Okay, but I hope so. But that doesn't, like Heather said, that doesn't erase the pregnancy that I am grieving right now. It doesn't make it go away, or, it heals it. It makes you feel a little bit better, but it doesn't ever replace it. And honestly, just things that you can do is just validate, just say, like, I don't know what you're going through, but I'm here for you, and I'm here to listen. And I am with you during this time. I'm so sorry that this happened to you. And that's really it. Even like
that's where you got to stop.
And because it really just validate the person's loss, tell them that you're here to support them and you love them, and that you're here when they're ready to talk about it, because nothing they say or do is going to fix it. And oftentimes we like to be fixers, like, tell me your problem and I will fix it. Well, nothing you can say can fix it. So saying I'm here with you. I'm sorry this is happening to you. And validating, this sucks. This is really for you.
Because essentially it's a death.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to think about these sorts of situations, miscarriages, even early on, as a human death, because that's what it is. So if somebody's grandfather or uncle passed away, would you be like, my uncle passed away too, I know exactly what you're feeling,
right?
And no, you would be like, I'm so sorry to hear that, I'm right here for you. And I feel like that's how we have to approach women who have lost children, you know?
And sometimes I feel like people don't know what to say, and honestly, don't say anything. Just don't. Just say,
Just hug.
yeah, just give me a hug and say, I'm so sorry and I'm here for you. And that does world of wonders. Instead of trying to reassure them, none of the reassurances you give them might ever happen. You know, like some things you say might inadvertently make them feel even more guilty or even more invalidated. And I was that person. Like I full circle realize the mistake that I made and what I needed during my loss too. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you. What about you? Well, Julianne kind of said it already, but what would you have? You told me what pisses you off and what made you annoyed. What would have worked for you in the comforting process?
Like Shannon said, like for me, if somebody just would have been like a shoulder to cry on, you know, an ear to somebody for me to vent to, you know, and I did have that. It's not like I didn't. It's just I had more of the other, you know, which was annoying to me.
Right.
Like,
I
I'm
know
sorry,
how
but
you feel.
yeah, don't tell me how I feel. Just don't do it. I hate
Right.
that. So, but yeah, just having, you know, my friends to talk to, you know, was really nice to be able to, because I mean, all my friends have kids, and so like they know what it's like to be pregnant, and only one knows what it's like to have a miscarriage, but still it was nice to be able to talk to somebody about it. Just in the beginning, I honestly didn't get out of bed for probably a week. I was just like, nope, I'm not doing hair, I'm not doing anything, I'm staying here, leave me alone.
I've
So
seen it. Yeah. My sister-in-law
that's,
too. It takes a toll on you physically.
yeah, it does. It really does. You don't know until you are in the situation. And some women, maybe they're stronger. I don't know. Like everybody deals with it so differently. But for me, it was don't tell me how I feel and just leave me alone. And then I started talking about it.
Right. Right.
So,
And I feel like for you, so much happened after the
a year
fact.
later,
Right.
I was like, my whole world just like shattered again. You
Yeah.
know, like I couldn't get a break from, you know, finding out you have, like, I had a lump right here, and I was just like, I had a really bad cold, like it sounded like this, and I was just coughing and hacking, and I'm just like, what the heck? And then I had to get a biopsy, and it was inconclusive, and then having to have 2 surgeries because it didn't look like cancer. I'm just like,
You
what the
went through.
heck, you know?
Yeah.
Like that really sucked. And then getting a paralyzed vocal cord in the process of it, like really sucked. And it just makes everything so much harder for me. Like it's hard for me to breathe, and I'm talking, and like I feel like I'm breathing really heavy, and just like everything just kind of piled on top. And it's been 4 years of this. And so yeah, we haven't even tried again because of cancer. And I'm just like, I just don't know if I want to try. Like I want to, but I don't. I'm scared.
And it's like even like those stupid like validations that people try to give you, like, oh, you'll get pregnant again and this and that. It's
They
like,
were more
well,
understanding with my cancer than they were with the loss of my child.
right.
You know, like even though I was only 8 weeks, I was so excited. Like so excited.
I feel like it's, I don't know, at least for me, it's like when we can't see the it's almost like depression and anxiety, you know, like when you can't see it physically, because you can't see a bundle of cells really,
True.
you know, it's
You
like
can sure feel it though.
right, exactly, you know, on the outside it's like almost as if we inadvertently make it like it's not real when it really is,
Mhm.
you know, and so we're very
Yeah.
insensitive to the subject.
Yeah. It
And
was a shitty situation for sure. I just feel like, and like I love my family and the support that I have for everything that I've been through, and everybody has been wonderful.
right.
But like for my miscarriage, it just felt like it was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And then they just sort of like they got over it way further faster than I did. I'm just like I said, I'm still not, you know?
No, I trust me, I get it.
So,
Now, what about Kayla? Where's Kayla now? I know she moved on my screen. I see you. What about you? What are common mistakes people made comforting you, and then what could they have done better to comfort you?
Like insensitive responses, like will just happen for a reason, and it might be for the better. And then
hate
I
that.
get, yeah, a lot of the time now I get, well, you can't be sad about it because you have a son. Like, right. Like
People
that
trying to
makes
tell you how to feel.
right, which you can't, you shouldn't, anyways, at all.
Right.
And we've talked about this already, the comparing my situation to something that happened to them.
Right. Like
Yeah.
somebody trying to one up you, like, oh, my situation's worse because XYZ. Like, oh, my situation's worse because I was further along. Or, oh, my friend's situation is worse because they were further along. So a lot of the times, I guess, like, so far what I've seen is in this is the pattern that for you guys, and probably for a lot of women out there, y'all had to deal with a lot of insensitive people, insensitive comments.
Yep.
And what would have made you feel better? Just same thing, somebody hugging you, letting you know that they're there for you.
Yeah, and I do have a really great support system, actually. So, I mean, that really helps.
Right.
I have my best friend, Natalie, who is still my best friend. So every year she will still talk to me about it. Every year on the 29th, she makes sure I'm doing something. So I'm not at home.
So just having even one person
Yes.
that understands. And
Yep.
it's like, it's almost like it's that pain in the ass person every time you want to complain about something that constantly tells you, like, me too, me too, me too. Like,
Yeah, that happened to me like 10 years ago.
right. Like, I get it. It happens to a lot of women, but right now it's happening to me.
Right.
So, okay.
Yes.
I totally get that. What about Maggie up there in Hogwarts?
Yeah. Nice.
What were common mistakes for you?
Well, not many people knew about me, so I didn't really get a lot of, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry kind of thing. But I feel like in all sense, people kind of, it's like a death, like you were saying, and everybody treats death differently. So I feel like no matter what people say, it's all with good intentions and they're not meaning to offend you or get on you. They're trying to be there for you, but the way it comes out can be offensive. You know, so
People
I
mean
would
well.
say,
I feel
yeah,
that way.
right, for sure. So just reaching out to someone in general, no matter what they're saying to me, would have been nice.
Right. For you, just having somebody,
Because
like
I
you
don't
said before.
remember, like I said, I don't know if I block certain memories out of it or if it's just old age, but I don't remember a lot of reactions. So like I said, my parents, I don't even remember how they reacted, and it was never talked about. So,
So you would
but I
have
think,
just wanted somebody there
right, I needed somebody there for sure.
to
And
know.
yeah, like, hey, it's okay. I know we're young, but you'll get through this kind of thing.
Right.
Um,
Did you feel
but I feel like,
alone?
yeah, I feel like when someone says, and this goes like, because I've been depressed for other reasons, and whenever I've been depressed and someone's like, oh, if you need me, I'll be there, reach out. I feel like when someone's in a state of depression, they're not going to reach out,
No.
usually.
No.
Maybe some people do, but like I wouldn't know. So I feel like instead of saying that, just do it. Just go there and be there
Check
and
in.
don't just check in. Yeah, like just instead of saying it, just do it kind of thing.
Right.
Um,
That's it. Like when one of my,
yeah.
and I mean, this is just across the board. When one of my friends is telling me they're going through something, it becomes not my job, but I feel as though I should be, hey, how you doing today? You okay? You all right? You know? So
And
yeah.
I'm sure that helps a lot. And you don't even know how much that helps, you know?
Yeah, just knowing that somebody cares enough
Mhm.
to hit you up first and ask you.
Right.
I get that. That makes
Right.
sense. Now we're wrapping back around now to Heather. Where is it? Okay. What helped you heal? What helped you through like grieving the emotions and stuff like that?
Really just talking to people and knowing that I wasn't alone. I like whenever I would stay up at night and cry, like that's when the emotions really hit. You know, I'm not gonna wake my husband up, you know, for him to listen to me cry about, I mean, because it's different, you know,
Right.
like I was pregnant, you know, there was a baby, but he didn't feel the loss to the extent that I did.
Right.
He did find out later that to be able to talk to people really did help, even him, because guys feel stuff too, you know. And if
Of
ladies are
course.
watching this that's gone through this, like check on your husband or your guy or
Cuz
your person.
I'm sure dudes kind of also go through that like is my sperm not good enough type of stuff, you know, like too.
Yeah, well, and then for him on the outside to just watch me hurt and not be able to help,
Right.
because there was nothing that he could do that would make me feel better. Um, but I found a group of ladies online. It was on a like a thread on that baby center website that pretty much everybody, as soon as you find out you're pregnant, you get on there and you find your group for your due date and you get all excited and all these other ladies and you compare stuff and, you know, here's my pee stick, look at it, I'm pregnant. Um, but we ended up, I found a support, it ended up being a support group on a thread for miscarriage and infant loss on that website in their community thread. And we were all due in August, which is whenever I was due. And we all miscarried around the same time,
Wow.
like January, February. And it was just a place for us to go. Like,
A support system.
yeah, like you're on that site, but then it's like, I've had a loss. Now, where do I go from here? I don't go to the I'm pregnant baby due side. They've got threads and stuff for miscarriage and any kind of anything really on there.
Right.
But a bunch of us found each other. I mean, there's one of my friends is in New York. There, I think it's East Islip or something like that.
Oh, so close to me.
Okay, she lives there. I mean, we've got some like out in California. I mean, just one of them is in Australia, like that
Oh,
we
wow.
found that we just all had loss in common.
Right, right.
And we were able to talk about it. And my husband would be like, "You're always on your phone. Like, what are, you know, what's going on?" I'm like, "Listen, these ladies know exactly what I'm going through because they were at the same point in time. We've all just lost. Like, this is literally the closest that I can get to somebody that's going through the same thing."
Right.
And he just didn't get it. He didn't really want to talk about it because he didn't want to upset me. But then he was off work for a little bit, went back, and somebody was like, "Oh, hey, how's your wife?" You know, and he was like, "We had a really, you know, bad ultrasound and we miscarried." And the guy, like, I mean, these are like dudes in their like 30s and 40s, and it's
Right.
like, me and
Okay.
my wife had a loss too.
Oh. Oh, so they're not, because like to me, like I feel like dudes
Exactly.
it come right, like it comes
Yeah.
off like dudes just are just like, you know.
It happened, whatever, okay.
Right,
But
right.
my husband was like, "You're always on your phone, you never blah, blah, blah." And then it was like one day he talked to this guy that was like, "Me and my wife lost one too. It'll
Oh,
be okay." And they talked, and he was like, I get it. I understand. Like, you talk to your ladies all you want if that is what makes you feel better.
right, right.
And we ended up moving to a Facebook group, and we still talk.
That's all, because the bond, I would assume, is just
Yeah,
when you
I
bond
mean,
with somebody over that.
we understand each other more than just like, you know, even my best friend, like she just doesn't get it as well as these ladies do.
Right.
And, you know, whenever it's like, "Oh, we're trying again," And then like we're all excited for each other and we're posting pictures of our pee sticks. Like, do you see it? Do I see it? Hold on and let me tweak it through my filters and see if I can find a line.
Right.
Like we get obsessive over pee sticks. Like it's insane. You're really trying. The things that you learn about the other people that are trying, you learn a lot about other people's bodies.
Right.
As
Too
well
much.
as right. But just to be able to have somebody to talk to, or at least some sort of support system, helped me more than I thought it would, because usually I was the type of person like, you hold that in, you don't talk about this stuff.
Right.
But just to be able to let it all out was like such a relief.
Yeah.
And just to know that you're not alone with it.
To have that safe space.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
we all need that.
Yeah. It took me a really long time to realize it.
That we need that. And even the husbands, I mean, obviously Julianne doesn't have a husband, she's got a wife, but the spouses also are going through it in some way, you know. I totally get that. I mean, I remember again watching I can only go by like what I've seen from my sister and like her wife. And my sister went through it just as much as my sister-in-law, even though she wasn't the pregnant one, you know?
Yeah.
So
like there's still a connection. As soon as you see those lines, there's some sort of connection. Like,
right.
You know, for me, it was like, there's a baby in there. Like, we're doing this. For my husband,
right.
It wasn't like as deep. He didn't go through, you know, like the actual loss itself and the procedure and stuff. But, he still lost.
Yeah, of course.
So, but yeah, you think of dudes as like, you don't need to check on them. They're fine. They didn't lose anything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like any ladies or anybody that's on here, like check on your dudes. Like they really do have feelings.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes they do.
What about you, Shannon? What helps you heal?
So I struggled with just like after I lost my pregnancy, like just feeling so sad about not being connected to like my baby anymore, and just like knowing that the baby was forever gone. And I didn't know how to cope with it because I wasn't ready to let go. I wasn't ready for the baby to be gone. And so I confided in a couple of close friends who I knew, just would be there for me and, support me. But I also chose to name my baby, to instead of referring to my baby as my baby, like I thought of, a name that I wanted to refer to my baby as. I got a ring made with like an engraving of the baby's name. I had like a necklace made that said, "Find joy in your journey." And no one else knew what that necklace was, but it symbolized for me, like, just keep moving forward and keep trying to be positive and know that, whenever you wear it, the baby's with you. And
what was the baby's name, if you don't mind?
Poppy, like the flower.
Aww.
Yeah. So I actually wear it in all my family pictures still. I wore the ring on a necklace like when I gave birth to both of my kids.
Aww.
And it just like gave me a way to just stay connected and feel connected. Even though, I don't know, in my heart, I think it's a girl. I don't really know. I had 2 boys.
Hey.
So maybe. But
it's your body,
right? But the baby was the size of a poppy seed. So even though it was, that small, it still had like, such an impression on my heart. And so just that, like that symbolism just allowed me to like make a connection and not have to like, it made me feel like I didn't have to give it up. Like I still have it because I have the ring, I have the necklace, I have that. And then same with Heather, she used a website. I used an app called Kandara, and it's actually like a fertility website that helps you get pregnant. And so there's a community where you meet people from all sorts of different walks of life, trying to get pregnant by insemination, adopting, surrogacy, like all of these people just trying to have a family. And you can support each other and watch each other through those journeys. And now my oldest is going to be 4. So my loss was about 4.5 years ago. And I'm still following people who are still waiting for their miracle, you know? So, like she said, like there's people from all over, like Wisconsin, Australia, England, and we still keep in touch because many of us had ended up being able to have pregnancies, you know, close together, but a lot of us went through loss at the same time. So we just were there to be each other's, you know, shoulder
Rock.
to lean on. Yeah. So
That's the common theme, is that sense of community is what helps us.
and I think, you know, if it's kind of like, and now like anytime I see a poppy flower or anytime I like, you know, like that, it brings me comfort knowing that like it's with me, and you don't feel so lost without it. So yeah.
So you created basically the legacy, and that helped you to heal.
Yeah, and actually when I first had, like, you have newborn picture, you can have newborn pictures taken.
Yeah.
The photographer took the ring and put it in his little feet, and we have the picture hanging in our house, you know, and so every time you see it, you see that like even though they didn't get to meet that baby, like they're still connected to each other. And
Yeah.
it's funny because when we named all of our children, we realized afterwards that they all had 5 letters, and we totally didn't mean to do that, but I was like, that connects them in some ways, even though.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I was able to heal. I, you know, turned to my friends. I turned just to my spirituality, and just read a lot and prayed a lot. And yeah, I used those symbols to kind of hold on to my loss. Not my loss, but the legacy of that baby.
That's amazing. And I think in a way, in doing that, you did give birth, like almost, well, like, you know what I mean? Like you gave birth to, you gave Poppy life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know, it actually took me, I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for 10 years, and my loss happened like 4.5 years ago. And I was finally able to like talk about it with my students. And I didn't know if they would really understand, but we were talking about symbolism, like in books.
Right.
And I was like, you know, this ring to any other person is just a ring, but for me, it's different. And being able to actually outwardly say it and like tell people my baby's name, who actually a lot of my family doesn't even know. So,
Right.
you know, that is also healing in and of itself.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And what about you, Julianne? What has helped you heal? Are you healed? Because I hear from you personally, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but I hear a lot of pain still from it. Like, are you healed? Oh, you're still muted. Uh-oh, where are you?
Better?
Yeah, better, much better.
Okay, sorry.
It's all right. Don't be sorry.
Yeah, so for sure I'm not healed all the way. I mean, a piece of my heart will always be broken, for sure.
Mm.
I want to say maybe 3 weeks after, when like everything kind of like stopped hurting physically, I like got these little small canvases, and I just like hold away in my room or something, I don't remember, and I just painted them, and I just painted each one individually, but it just says always in my heart, you know. And like I still have, like, obviously they're up just everywhere. I can see it, you know. When I walk by, I just look, and I'm like, I always just think about it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just, that helps too. Like, I didn't do like a ring or a necklace or anything like that, which is a great idea for somebody who is going through something like this, for sure.
Hell yeah.
But I like to look at the canvases and just remember the time that I had. You know, those 8 weeks were so special to me. So, and I did listen to a lot of music, and I taught myself to crochet. And so I did a lot of things to take my mind off of it.
Yeah.
So just to keep myself busy. So I want to say,
I feel like that's the best thing that we could do, is just we all say pray, meditate, but like those hobbies are
Mhm.
our own way of like almost meditating and taking that
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah, because like it keeps my hands busy. Like I'm not just like staring off into space. I'm concentrating and like, I'm making something for somebody. Like I made like 50 blankets for my whole family. Just
Aw.
like gave them away because I was like, that's all I did for a year. I just like crocheted every day.
Aw.
So
Julianne, not to interrupt you, but that phrase that you have on your canvas is what I have engraved on my ring.
really,
Same exact phrase. Yeah.
now we're like
I connected to you now.
kindred spirits somehow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cry.
I know. I'm getting emotional.
Y'all are gonna make me cry. I'm on my period, y'all. Y'all can't do this shit to me.
Oh god.
See, that's like a sign right there, and I feel like that also is a common theme, is that sense of community. We need that sense of community to know.
I feel like finding like even just this group of people, like the think tank group, like I feel like being able to talk to like Shannon has been really great. Like we did a video chat last week, and we talked for like an hour, and that was fun. Like just having somebody to open up to and talk to, that's like I said, told her, I was like, when you're with somebody for months on end because of quarantine, like I love my wife dearly, but like
Right.
it's just nice to have somebody to talk to outside of your normal group of people,
Yeah,
so
it is.
it's really helped me like get over a lot of things. I don't want to say get over, but move past a lot of things that were like really like weighing me down. I feel a lot better about my situation and just like in general. So yeah.
That's awesome. And you know what? That this is a testament to, we are all in different stages of the healing process, and I
Yeah.
think when it comes to things like this, you're never fully healed per se.
No.
Kind of channel that energy in different ways and know how to cope with it. So that's
Mhm.
awesome, that
Yeah.
we have this little circle.
Just anywhere we can, you can go be yourself, like when you do your premieres, like seriously, like I look forward to those so much because it's like, these people live all over, but they're like there for you,
Yeah.
and it's just like, it's so awesome to have that.
community.
Like I have it in some of my, like some friends and stuff, but like none of my friends live by me, so I can't just go visit somebody, I can't just go to their house. Like I have to
Right.
make a date or a day of it or whatever. I can't just pop in anywhere. So it's just nice to have a place to go.
Always. Yeah, it is. I enjoy it too. I'm
Yeah.
like,
They're fun.
yeah, it is pretty fun.
You're
I
a
love
hoop,
it.
Tori.
I love it. What about Kayla over there? Kayla keeps every time I switch to Kayla. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
I didn't mean to. No.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hello?
I'm in the car going back home. See, nope, I'm gonna be lost.
Oh, there you are. I got you now.
I don't know if I may leave because I'm driving home.
We may lose you.
Yeah, you may lose me.
Oh, no, well, if you want to just give quick what helped you heal and any last thoughts that you have.
So helping me heal would be my best friend Natalie and all my other friends and my family. And I haven't done it yet, but I want to get a tattoo that says "A Heart Not Forgotten." That's like stitched up, which is what I got from the hospital when I was discharged. And what was the other thing?
And any last final thoughts you want to, any words of encouragement, whatever you want to say before you head out.
Right. Just to let everyone know that they're definitely not alone, even though they feel like it sometimes, and definitely to reach out to someone if you feel you need to.
There you go. That's perfect. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah. Kids there, I'm in the back seat. Let's go home.
And thank you. Honestly, thank you for your time. Like, I know you're doing your shit, but thank you. Thank you for
I
taking
went to my friend's house because I thought it would be quieter, and then her son is like not having it tonight.
It's fine. Listen, my mother's like 64 and she interrupted, so it's fine, you know. It's totally
Yeah, that's true, but it's fine.
it happens.
But it was nice hearing everyone, and thank you, Tori, for having us here.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you.
We love you too, of course. I'm
Now
all
we
over TikTok. You
now
see
we
me all-
got one more, Maggie. Now what helped Maggie heal? What helped you heal?
Hello?
Hi.
Can you hear me? Okay. What helped me heal? Gosh. I don't know, to be honest. I think just time passing, me just getting older, and because I was just so young to comprehend. I mean, 9/11 happened when I was in high school too, so it was like that didn't affect my head until later. I just think at that age you can't really see past a couple hours of your day. You're just in your own bubble, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think time helped me make days easier. I wouldn't say get over it, just make days easier.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I feel like, you know, it's something you never get over. And yeah,
Yeah.
time definitely, you know, looking back, like you said, you still think about the child, you still think of how old the child would be and the date and everything like that. But
Yeah.
but time helps you to like better cope, I guess, if that makes
Right.
sense. That makes
Definitely.
totally a lot of sense. Now, any last words that you have, like what final thoughts would you give to anybody?
Mine's more of for whoever you're dating. Don't ever stay in a toxic relationship. I know I've seen your episodes on that, so you know what I'm
Yep.
talking about. But it's just not good at any age. It's mentally draining, exhausting, physically, and it's just not healthy. I mean, be single if anything, if you're be strong. Be a strong enough person to where if you do get into something like that, you could leave in 2 seconds if you see any kind of red flag.
And not even go through like the stress of
Yeah.
losing a child. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I
Like,
was not strong. I was very vulnerable, and I literally did anything this guy said. He stole money from my parents. Like I said, I didn't care. He told me he was going to throw me down a flight of stairs. I stayed with him. It was like, what was wrong with me? I had issues.
right.
I had issues. You should never stay with a person like that. So that would just be my advice. Just if you're in one, get out. I know it's easier said than done, but
Yeah, it is. I've
that's
been
just
there. I've been there. Now, would you
you
say
gotta be in
like,
a relationship and be happy and have fun.
right?
You know,
And
just
I
be
mean,
light.
in regards to like the pregnancy aspect, would you say like also don't allow anybody that you're with to dictate what you should do with your body?
100%. Yes, 100%. Make your own decisions. Um, if you're in a healthy relationship, definitely hear what their side is and what they want to do. But ultimately, it's your body, your choice. Do what you want, no matter what anybody's telling you. Yeah.
Totally get it. Now, what about Heather up there? What's your final thought on all of this? What words of encouragement, whatever, word diarrhea?
I mean, it, it's not that it gets better. I mean, just know that you're not alone. More people, there's probably people that you know that has had a loss at some point that you don't even realize.
Right.
You know, it is tough. You're going to go through every emotion that you probably didn't even know you were capable of. And time doesn't get better. You do just kind of learn to cope. You don't. I mean, yeah, I still think of on the due date. This year I would have had a 6-year-old. But I mean, any thought that you have as far as how you feel like you need to remember this pregnancy or how you need to cope is valid. Like, nobody can tell you how you need to grieve or get better.
Right.
It's been years, you should be fine. No, like, that was your life. Like, that happened to you. If you want to grieve about it, fucking grieve about it, you know?
Right.
I mean, and I haven't worn my necklace lately because I wore it so much lately, or like back, back then, that it has really worn. But it does say it's till I can hold you in my arms, I'll hold you in my heart.
Aw.
And then I have it's in my jewelry box. I have a ring that has the birthstone of, all three of my pregnancies. But I mean, it's part of you. It's who you are. If you want to tell people about it, tell people about it. If you don't feel that you're ready, don't say anything. All of this is you.
Right.
Like, if you feel that you're ready to talk about it and that it will help, talk about it. If you're not ready or you don't want other people to know, don't say anything. Like, it's none of their business.
Nope. And that's the truth. That is the
Yeah.
truth.
I mean, there are plenty of people in my life that have no idea that any of this happened.
Well, now they do, but
Mhm.
if they're watching, but
Whatever. I don't know how many people that in my life follow you, so it's fine.
True.
It's cool. But if they find out, whatever. Like,
Right,
if
right.
it would have came up, I'll tell you about it. I don't care. I did have an aunt at one point, because I didn't tell anybody early on. For the most part, I didn't tell extended family and stuff. But my grandma had asked after I miscarried, was like, is it okay? Like, if we mention it, if we tell somebody? And I'm like, I mean, whatever. It is what it is.
Right.
And she told my aunt, which I'm not close to, and if I don't know why she would see this, but whatever. But it was, okay, like, she didn't tell us that she was pregnant. Like, why is she gonna tell us that she miscarried? And it's like, bitch.
Right.
I didn't tell you because I wasn't far long enough to feel comfortable. Like, if my grandma wants to tell people that I miscarried, let her tell them. Like, you don't need to be a bitch about it just because I didn't tell you that I was pregnant in the first place. Like,
So basically, your final thought would be, mind your fucking business.
exactly. Like,
Right.
yeah, if you want to be open about it, be open. If you want to talk to people, talk to people. Just how you grieve and how you cope with this type of thing in your life is your decision.
Right.
Like, if you want to talk to people, there will be people there for you.
And there are
it
resources.
will be okay. We'll help you through whatever you need to get through if you want it.
Right. What about you, Shannon? What are your final thoughts? I feel like Jerry Springer. Final thoughts. What are your final thoughts?
A lot of what Heather said, I felt. Just know that no matter what your experience is valid. There's no set timeline for how long it's going to take to heal. You might not ever feel like you're fully healed. Some days are better than others. If you grieve by talking, then reach out. If you grieve by, processing it first, then do that. But whatever your journey is, it's valid. And just know that there are people out here that will support you and just be there to get you through this time, because it will never be fixed. You will just be able to cope with it better. And so many people have different experiences, but at the end of the day, we all experience loss, and we're here to connect in that way, because that it's like the human condition. You just want to feel understood and feel validated in your experiences. And so if anyone is watching who's struggling, just know that you are valid in your experiences, however that plays out in your life. Your journey is yours, and sometimes it takes a long time to be able to talk about it.
Mhm.
And that's okay. That's okay too.
Hell yeah. Yeah. What about you, Julianne? Your final thoughts?
I feel like we all kind of feel the same way. Like, know that you're not alone. Like, it's okay to grieve the loss of your baby, even if it was 4 weeks, 4 months. It doesn't matter. Like, there are groups if you need to talk. Like, what you're going through is normal. Like, it's okay.
Right.
And people are going to be here for you. So hopefully people in situations like having a miscarriage or, further along, like a stillborn or anything like that, just know that there are groups out there that, people really care and they want to help no matter what. Like, they're not going to tell you that you're, to get over it. They're going to be there to listen to you. So
and I'm gonna leave links. We already got some links to resources and stuff like that. Even
right.
Like watching this podcast, knowing that
Mm-hmm.
community of women out there who are in different stages of the healing process and stuff like that. I feel like that helps.
It helps a lot to have people to talk to when you are ready to have the conversation with people. Like, you have to be there. Like, I didn't talk to anybody for like 3 weeks and then I was ready.
Right. And
you
that's
got to get your mind there. So,
and I think that for, I guess, my final thought as somebody who has never been through this situation before, but obviously now I've spoken to a bunch of women who have, and I've seen my own family members go through it. Your feelings are valid. There's community out there for you. You're not alone, and it's okay to laugh. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be your fucking self and feel all the feels. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's that, man. That is that. And thank you seriously to each and every single one of you guys, because we've been here for what, 2 hours?
Way past 40 minutes.
way past
40 minutes.
So thank you
that would have
guys.
been possible. 40 minutes.
No, really?
Yeah, no, it would have been. I really came into this thinking like, 40 minutes. No, 40 minutes. No.
You can't put this kind of thing in a box for 40 minutes.
No, no.
We all could talk a lot longer too.
I'm glad we got extended, though. I'm glad this got extended. But
you can't expect 5 women to get on here and talk about anything, really, in 40 minutes.
Right. But thank you,
especially something personal.
Well, exactly. Something serious. What do I have on my face? Thank you all for being here. Thank you for sharing your stories.
And Tori, thank you for giving us the opportunity to connect with each other and hopefully connect to others. Without you, we wouldn't have this. So we appreciate you too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having us on here.
Keep doing everything you do. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I love you guys. And seriously, thank you so much.
We love you too.
This will be right now, as the time of this recording, it's October 14th at almost 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. This is going to be dropping tomorrow, so look out for it, everybody.
Woo.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.